Prime Minister Mark Carney has gone to Washington. He's there ahead of tomorrow's high-stakes meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump.
CTV's Colton Praill joins us live with more on this first meeting. Okay, so Colton, President Trump has doubled down on his threat to annex Canada, saying he's not going to use military force. But how will this affect the scheduled trade and tariff meeting on Tuesday between the two?
Well, it's certainly never good when the president is talking about annexing Canada, when he's talking about making us the 51st state. He made these comments again in an interview over the weekend in NBC's Meet the Press, but it really doesn't change the ballgame significantly. These are comments that he made on his first phone call with Prime Minister Mark Carney. These are comments that he made throughout the entirety of the election on social media, also in the press, and these are comments that he is making again in the press. And the script is more or less the same. It's $200 billion in subsidies, a number that isn't accurate. It's a commitment that the U.S. doesn't need Canadian energy, isn't accurate, doesn't need Canadian automobiles, isn't accurate. We know firsthand just how integrated that industry is, or that it doesn't need Canadian lumber. And again, this is a stretch that has been in existence, or this is a sentence that he keeps repeating time ad nauseum. So this hasn't changed the framing of this meeting. It speaks to the challenges that exist for Mark Carney going into this meeting, but certainly it doesn't make the job any more difficult than it was a week ago.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, Colton, because, I mean, here we are fact-checking Trump on air, but I'm not sure he's going to appreciate a face-to-face fact-check from the Prime Minister, who in that same NBC Meet the Press interview, he did have nice things to say, relatively speaking, about Mark Carney, saying he was a nice man, I congratulate him, et cetera, et cetera. So the stakes are really high here, Colton. Can Carney, is the expectation that he's going to build a bridge to Trump to sort of strike that better, equitable, fair kind of a deal?
To your point, the fact-checking is a big issue, right? Like, you don't want to have a Volodymyr Zelensky situation where you're in the Oval Office and this press conference devolves into a full-out fight. Emmanuel Macron is much more where you're looking for. If there is any disagreements, it's at the very least friendly. You push back gently, and the two men seem to leave that meeting still on good terms. The other point you brought up, and I think it's right to highlight, is that Trump has repeatedly called Carney a very nice gentleman, a very nice man, what he's referred to him. In Carney's press conference on Friday, he talked about Donald Trump being one of the best negotiators, someone who represents strength. There are positives here where the two men could come out of this in some sort of amicable relation. I wouldn't expect to see significant movement with regards to immediately solving tariffs or immediately deciding when negotiations are going to begin on a free trade deal. Mr. Carney was very quick to say that don't expect white smoke, as he put it in his press conference on Friday, but there will be a focus on securing that trade deal, starting those negotiations. There will be a focus on the longer term. Absolutely expect NATO spend to be something that comes up in this. Donald Trump brought that up again in his interview over the weekend. So there are building blocks. This is the first meeting. It's not the last meeting, but there is a lot to work on right now. One area I would expect us to also talk about is these new film tariffs that Trump is threatening. Obviously, that's going to have a significant impact in cities like Toronto and, of course, Vancouver.
Yeah, hopefully Trump still thinks our Prime Minister is a very nice man after this meeting they have. All right, CTV's Colton Praill joining us live. Appreciate the time, Colton. Thanks.